So theories to international business.
Sir, it's audible.
Several theories are available for international trade. International trade takes place due to difference in opportunity costs. So these are the theories available for international. Companies would definitely go for global business with one or the other assumption, like polycentric, and geocentric approaches. So there must be a guiding principle behind the business. So theories provide for international business. This help the companies to do international business in a particular way. I'll give you an example. On Valentine's Day, so let us discuss about the trade theories. These are the theories available for you: mercantilism, absolute advantage, competitive advantage, factor endowments, product life cycle, national competitive advantage. So let us start with an example. On Valentine's Day in 1996, Mr. Patrick Buchanan, a Republican presidential candidate for the USA, while purchasing a dozen of roses to present to his wife, understood that his country was importing roses from South America. He took the occasion to prepare a speech denouncing the increasing import of flowers from South America, causing problems in the US farmers, to the US farmers. So in order to draw the attention of the voters. So next day morning, he indicated the same thing to his wife. So his wife was a teacher in international business. She told him, this is the reason for international trade. She further clarified that to supply American sweethearts with fresh roses in February is very hard. Growing flowers in winter is at a great expense in terms of energy, capital, and other scarce resources. The US economy has been producing computers with these resources rather than roses. The US exports computers to South America and imports roses from South America. So this is the opportunity cost provided a greater advantage to both the USA and South America. As US has a comparative advantage in producing computers, and South America in case of roses. So international trade takes place due to difference in opportunity cost. And it becomes possible for mutual benefit to the two countries due to the difference in opportunity costs. International trade between two countries can benefit both the countries if each country exports the goods in which it has a comparative advantage. However, initially, countries used to earn gold through international trade. A number of theories have been developed by the international economists to explain how does international trade takes place. So these are the theories. Mercantilism, theory of absolute cost advantage, comparative cost advantage, relative factor endowments. It's also called Huxer-Owen theory. Country similarity theory, product life cycle theory, global strategic rivalry theory, Porter's national competitive advantage. There are several theories have been developed by the international economists which explain how does the international trade takes place among the countries. So let us see now the first theory, mercantilism theory. So here you should remember why this international trade takes place between the countries. It's just because of the difference in opportunity costs. So I told you in the beginning itself, international trade takes place due to difference in opportunity costs. So this is mercantilism theory was the first international trade theory emerged in England in the 16th century. Oldest international trade theory that formed the foundation of economic thought during about 1500 to 1800, that's mid 16th century. So according to this theory, the holdings of a country's treasure, primarily in the form of gold, constituted its wealth. Countries whichever hold more deposits of large deposits of gold are considered as rich, wealthy countries. So this theory specifies that countries should export more than they import and receive the value of trade surplus in the form of gold from those countries which experience trade deficits. In the sense that the countries used to export and receive the difference in the form of gold. So governments imposed restrictions on imports and export, encouraged exports in order to prevent trade deficit and experience trade surplus. So one example is that colonial powers like British, they used to trade with their colonies like India, Sri Lanka by importing the raw materials from these colonies and exporting the finished goods to these colonies had to export less valued goods and import more valued goods. So lesser valued goods here are materials. So these British countries, colonial powers, used to import all these raw materials, less valued goods from these colonies and export finished goods, that's the high value products, to these colonies. So what happens? These colonies would experience deficit trade deficit, whereas these colonial powers experience this trade surplus because they export high value goods, and where colonies export less value goods like raw materials and others. So this practice allowed the colonial powers to enjoy trade surplus and force the colonies to experience trade deficits. The theory benefited the colonial powers and caused much discontent in the colonies. So in fact, this was the background situation for the American Revolution. So this benefited colonial powers and causes discontent in the colonies was the background situation for the American Revolution. So the mercantilism theory suggests for maintaining favorable balance of trade in the form of import of gold for export of goods and services. But the decay of gold standard reduced the validity of this theory. Consequently, this theory was modified in neo-mercantilism. The neo-mercantilism proposes that countries attempt to produce more than the demand in the domestic country in order to achieve a social objective like full employment in the domestic country or a political objective like assisting a friendly country. So here, neo-mercantilism proposes that the country should attempt to produce more than the demand in the domestic country in order to achieve a social objective. What is the social objective? Providing full employment in the domestic country, or a political objective like assisting a friendly country. So this theory was attacked on the ground that the wealth of a nation is based on its available goods and services rather than on gold. Adam Smith developed the theory of absolute cost advantage, which says that different countries can get the advantage of international trade by producing certain goods more efficiently than others. So that is the reason why this theory proposes the countries to produce, export more than they import and experience the trade surplus. So here, this theory believes in zero-sum game. What is that zero-sum game? This is David Hume pointed out this in 1752. Increased exports lead to inflation and higher prices. When country exports all that they produce in its nation, then goods may not be available for domestic consumption. Definitely, prices in domestic country will go up, causing inflation. So, on the other hand, increased imports lead to lower prices. When you keep on importing large quantities of products from outside, the supply would be more, so automatically price will go down. So, would these two conditions continue for long? No. This is for a while. At one point, this situation gets balanced. So, for example, country A sells less because of high prices. Country B sells more because of lower prices. So, in the long run, no one can keep a trade surplus. This is what is called zero-sum game. Your mercantilism theory believes in this zero-sum game. The other theory is the theory of absolute advantage, absolute cost advantage. This theory was proposed by Adam Smith in 1776 in London as the father of economics. So according to Adam Smith, free trade enables a country to produce a variety of goods and services. So free trade in the sense that where there are no restrictions, no difficulty in exporting and importing of goods. That is what is a kind of situation of free trade. So free trade enables a country to produce a variety of goods and services. Though the country doesn't need that much of production for its domestic consumption, they produce more and more to export to other markets, so that they gain trade surplus, they experience trade surplus. So here Adam Smith argued that countries differ in their ability to produce goods efficiently. Not all the countries are have the same capacity to produce all kinds of goods. Some countries are very effective, efficient in producing some goods. Some countries are good in technology. Some countries are good in other areas. So like that, countries differ in their ability, capabilities of countries differ from in producing goods efficiently. So keeping this in mind, he proposes that countries should specialize in the production of the goods for which they have an absolute advantage, and then trade these goods for the goods traded by other countries. For example given, English had an absolute advantage in the production of textiles, while the French had the absolute advantage in the production of wine. So, the French can efficiently produce the wine, whereas the British, they can produce textiles very effectively, efficiently. So these countries should specialize in the products, in the production of products in which they are specialized. So Smith denounced the zero-sum game and advocated the principle of positive gain. Mercantilism believes in zero-sum game. Increased exports results inflation and high prices. Decreased, increased imports results in lower price. At one point, they get set right. So where this Adam Smith denounced the zero-sum game and positive game. What is this positive game? Implications of this theory. If a country has an absolute advantage in producing a product, there exists for gains from trade. The implications of absolute cost advantage theory. If a country has an absolute advantage in producing a product, there exists a potential for gains from trade. The more the country is able to specialize in the production of the good it produces most efficiently, the greater is the potential gains in national well-being. So within one country, the gains from trade are not evenly distributed by the competitive market. So every country should specialize in producing those products at the cost less than that of another country. So according to Adam Smith, every country should specialize in producing those products which it can produce at less cost than that of other countries, and exchange these products with the other products produced cheaply by other countries. So trade between two countries takes place when one country produces one product at less cost than that of the other country, another country, and the other country has an absolute cost advantage over the first country in producing in any other product. So here we should know how it is possible for the countries to produce the products efficiently and in which products they have one advantage. One is skilled labor and specialization advantage. That's one issue that gives countries an advantage. Skilled labor and specialization advantage. Countries have absolute cost advantage due to certain reasons. One is stability of the skill of the labor of the country in producing certain products. So some people are very skilled. The stability of the skill of the labor of the country in producing certain products, specialization of labor in producing certain products leads to higher productivity and less labor cost per unit of output. Economies of scale would reduce the labor cost per unit of output. These are the reasons. The countries have absolute cost advantage. One is stability of the skill of the labor of the country and the specialization of labor in producing certain products and economies of scale. So this would reduce the labor cost per unit of the product. So another one is natural advantage. So natural advantage is due to climatic conditions, natural resources, etc. So natural advantage, in addition to the skilled labor and specialization advantage, countries do also have natural advantage in producing certain products due to climatic conditions, access to certain natural resources, etc. For example, Indian climate suits the production of sweet mangoes, coconuts, cotton, and cashew nuts. The Sri Lankan climate suits the production of tea, rubber, etc. The USA climate supports the production of wheat. So countries with natural advantage can produce specific products at low cost. This is another one. That's natural advantage. Then acquired advantages are there for the countries. The acquired advantage is due to technology and skill development. So in addition to the skilled labor and natural advantage, countries also acquire advantages through technology and skill development. Japan, for example, acquired advantage in steel production through the imports of both iron and coal. The reason for this success is that Japan acquired labor saving and material saving technology. This is the reason Japan acquired advantage in steel production through the imports of both iron and coal. The result for this success is that Japan acquired labor saving and material saving technology. So Denmark exports silver tableware due to the ability of Danish companies in developing distinctive products. The technologically advanced countries acquired abilities to develop substitute products for a number of natural products. Thus, countries have absolute advantage in producing certain products, as this, we have seen in the before. Some more examples for England had an absolute advantage. We have seen that in producing certain products as that is textile, whereas France had the absolute advantage in producing wine. Similarly, India has the absolute advantage in producing pens, and Japan has the advantage of absolute advantage in producing audio tape recorders. So let us take only these two examples where India is advantage in producing pens and Japan has advantage in producing audio tape recorders. So this assumption of this theory, this absolute advantage theory, is that Adam Smith proposed this absolute cost advantage theory based on certain assumptions. One is trade is between two countries, assumptions. Only two commodities are traded. Free trade exists between the countries, and the only element of cost of production is labor. So when these assumptions, with these assumptions, this theory of cost advantage, Adam Smith's absolute cost advantage holds good. If this remains hold good, trade is between two countries, only two commodities are traded, free trade exists between the countries, the only element of the cost of production is labor, not other things. We are considering only labor cost and see how the countries benefit out of this. So these are the assumptions of absolute cost advantage theory. Now let's discuss the absolute cost advantage through a numerical example. I gave you that India is good at making pens and Japan is good at making audio tape recorders. So let us explain, let us see the absolute advantage using two countries and two products. So in this example, the countries are India and Japan, and the commodities are pen and audio tape recorders. So here assumptions, trade is between two countries, that is India and Japan. Only two commodities are traded, that's pens and audio tape recorders. So we treat the cost of production in terms of labor.